Hey friends, Tim, Carnivore Caveman. I got kind of a long one today, but I've been writing a lot about this stuff today. Um, the carnivore diet, alcoholism, new ways to think about what we're actually doing in this space, why people won't jump on board. We have to protect ourselves in every aspect of this and not be brought down or be convinced that we're doing the wrong thing. We don't want to hammer people over the head that they're doing the wrong thing, but provide an example um, that we might bring them into the fold and get them healthy too. It's the USDA Dietary guidelines claim that 60% of Americans actually stick to the USDA recommended diet, high in fruit, vegetables, nuts, and grains, beans, peas, red, yellow vegetables, and green, lentils, and other starchy vegetables, plus vegetable oils. Also, lean meats and seafood, low fat dairy, and soy beverages. They also want you to reduce your saturated fat as much as you can and reduce sodium. 60% seems like a lot to me, considering uh, their claim is that no one is doing the diet, and that's why everyone's sick. I have to ask you, do you avoid any of those foods or practices? Do you avoid fruits or vegetables or lean meat or, red, green, yellow, leafy green vegetables? I know carnivores do, but in general, I think more and more people are actually gravitating towards that diet as a healthy way to eat and live. The USDA, also claim that 75% of Americans are sick in some form or another. And this is in the USDA Dietary Guidelines 2020 to 2025. They're working on a new version of it right now. That's what RFK is doing, Dr. Oz, Brooke Rollins, and now Ben Carson. And if you look into it, there's a whole group of people, experts around the country and in Canada, that work to compile all this information. So I'm looking forward to see what it's going to be. I mean, since 1977, they've been producing this document and introduced the food pyramid from this in 1980. That's what started this whole ball rolling with their recommendations. Um, and the most recent version that came out in 2020 is where we got the plate, the my plate. Okay. 75% of Americans are sick in some form or another. And by sick, I mean every metabolic condition you can think of: anxiety, depression, bowel related problems, arthritis, thyroid conditions, eczema, psoriasis, diabetes. Don't forget non alcoholic fatty liver disease in children. I mean, 10-year-olds without ever drinking alcohol are getting what we used to call alcoholic fatty liver disease. Okay. We know it's caused by sugar. Those illnesses are what I'm talking about. And don't forget Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, MS. And forgive me, the new third rail of illnesses, if you haven't noticed, the do not touch illness, autism. And like I said, this is sourced, these statistics are sourced from the USDA Dietary Guidelines 2020 to 2025. Well, let me discuss tomorrow's illness today. What's tomorrow's illness going to be? The perfectly healthy. This is the fastest growing, most demonized group of people on the planet today. We're just not profitable unless they force us to get sick. And that may be coming. Dr. Oz recently said the biggest problem with the Affordable Care Act are people signing up for insurance by the millions and not using it. Many were signed up automatically without their knowledge. This just gums up the system. Think transfer of wealth on a massive scale. If you don't use the system, the money doesn't flow through it to the people it was intended to profit, is it? It gets stuck. I could go on and on about that, but I'm going to go right to this. With that being said, is there a way to separate yourself from this voluntary, capitalistic, and very profitable system? A system that enriches people by providing a perpetual supply of sick people to the medical industry? I say yes. The medical industry needs doctors and nurses and healthcare providers. These folks need to be educated at our colleges and universities. And once you're sick, you need the insurance for life. So it's the basis of our economy. It's intentional, purposeful, and profitable. You can escape this again if you want. This is freedom. It will lead to being part of that most demonized group I mentioned before, the perfectly healthy. First of all, there are no essential carbohydrates, either in the form of processed food or completely natural. Your body doesn't want, need, or expect them. The human body would never be addicted to something it actually needs, requires, or considers essential. And if you don't think carbohydrates are addictive, then you've never tried to get off of them. As a matter of fact, you've been on carbohydrate-based diet since the day you were born. Some people live their entire lives without ever discovering what ketosis is. What a shame that is. We know in the carnivore diet space, it's been an absolute miracle to some of us. A carbohydrate-based diet is a pharmaceutical-based diet. What is the correlation between the ingredients in food and the pharmaceutical industry? Is there a crossover use of ingredients to medicine? Which food ingredients are also used in pharmaceuticals? Don't even think about putting those in your search engine. You will stir the hornet's nest you may regret it. I believe the chemical imbalance theory on mental health is not a theory at all. It's absolutely true. I believe that the chemicals installed in us through the food supply chain. Check your labels. Sugars, grains, and vegetable seed oils are the #1 offenders. These are mixed with sugars, drugs, medications, and strange ingredients to produce tens of thousands of food products. Ingredients to produce, products that are for sale at the grocery store. There are over 150 names for sugar, by the way. You know, words mean things. Let's look at the addictive drugs that you've heard about. Cocaine has been all three: an ingredient, a drug, and a medication. It's the namesake of Coca-Cola. It's still used as an anesthetic in hospitals and in doctors' offices across the country, as a medicine. And you may know it as a widely used illegal drug. Heroin, morphine, and opium are drugs that are derived from the poppy plant. Both were used as medicines and tinctures that were available to the public before they were banned, but are still used for medicines today. And street drugs. LSD is derived from the fungus called ergot, which grows on improperly stored grains. Before it was banned, many believed it was a miracle drug. Even Bill Wilson, the co-founder of Alcoholics Anonymous, tried it extensively, wanted to include it as a possible cure for alcoholism in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and was talked out of it. And probably good that happened. Think about this. The pharmaceuticals that are in the food are put there by the same people who provide the pharmaceuticals to deal with the illnesses that the food causes. This is a mental illness called Munchausen's by proxy. This disease is characterized by being made ill by one person and also being cured by the same person or another person. So what's the cure rate in the medical community? 0. Zilch. Nada. If you're a doctor that uses dietary means to end disease for your patient, you can lose your job. The cure rate in the carnivore diet community is 100%. And I'll reiterate this. I made this up and I say it all the time. Find one person in the world who is extremely sick, takes a ton of medication, only eats meat and will not change their diet. I'm waiting. I've been waiting 5 years. They don't exist. On the contrary, what is the opposite of this? If you want to find someone who is extremely sick, takes a ton of medication, and eats the standard American diet, and will not change their diet, that is, follows the USDA dietary guidelines, all you have to do is go to the closest hospital. That's who occupies all the beds there. Trust me, being a carnivore is so rare, there's no way we could be filling all the hospitals across the country. None of us are sick. The hospitals, that's where the USDA dietary guidelines are met. Also, nursing homes, that's where the US dietary guidelines are met. Have you ever checked your local schools? That's where the US dietary guidelines are met. The US dietary guidelines are imposed on us everywhere we go. Most illnesses today is a carbohydrate toxicity combined with malnutrition because of the USDA dietary guidelines. The USDA dietary guidelines are being used to make us sick and intentionally and on purpose for profit. Let me get a little biblical on you because I've looked into the Seventh-day Adventist claims. They are vegans, and you must be a vegan to be a Seventh-day Adventist. And they also claim that their dietary guidelines are not based in science. Science is based in their dietary guidelines. You can look this up. This is their claim. So I wanted to find out what is the biblical reasoning behind their insistence on a plant-based or vegan diet. And I found it. Genesis 1, 29, and 30. So chapter 1, verse 1, paragraphs or verses 29 and 30. And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which the fruit of the tree yielding seed, to you it shall be for meat. Meat, M-E-A-T. And paragraph 30 reads, And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so. You know, it's saying these plants, I have given you every herb bearing seed, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you, it shall be for meat. Well, I mean, just think about it. What eats the seed-bearing plants on this planet naturally? Cattle? They eat the grains, the grasses, and they turn it into the meat. In some parts of the world, different animals are eaten. If you go to the tropic regions, they may track down monkeys or animals that eat fruit. We don't eat that way in America, but in parts of the world in these tropical regions where there are still hunter-gatherers, they track down monkeys. They're tracking down animals that live in the forest and eat the fruit, a seed-bearing fruit. To you it shall be for meat. To me, these passages that the Seventh-day Adventists are using are confirmation of the carnivore diet, that meat is for the human being. And I'm glad I went back because I'm a practicing Christian and I haven't read the Bible in quite a while. So this is like page 1 stuff, you know? So let me jump out of that. That's enough Bible. Let's put our thinking caps on for this one. Many animals have defenses. They can run from you. They can attack you. They can sting you or bite you or poison you. They can even eat you. But when we finally catch them, cook them, and get them on our plate, they are safe, delicious, and nutritious. Plants are completely different. They are bound to the ground. They cannot run, they cannot get away, and as such, develop chemical defenses. This is not a mystery. We know about this. There are plants that can kill you. There are plants that can be used for medicine. You can get high on them. Ayahuasca, anyone? Cannabis, anyone? Cocaine, poppy plant? This is the medicine cabinet of the planet, not the food supply chain. Many of the chemical defenses they have are designed to prevent predation or to attract pollinators. They have thorns, spikes, burrs. They can capture sheep by their wool until they die. Have you seen any farmers will go out and find their sheep all bunched up to the fences because they got too close to these burrs, and they get stuck and they'll die if the farmer doesn't come out and get them. And they die, the plant will consume them. Talk about a carnivorous plant. There are even some carnivorous plants. We know this. Every animal on the planet has a species-specific diet, including human beings. Ours is fatty meat from ruminant animals. This is specified in the Bible by providing seeds and herbs and fruits for meat. What are we to make of these biblical passages in the first pages of the Bible? The Seventh-day Adventists use them to justify a vegan-based diet. You know, the one that the USDA recommends. It's the same diet. Why would our government, which has such a radical view of separation of church and state, use a biblical-based diet? When these passages in the Bible talk in reference to the herb-bearing seed being used for meat, to you it shall be used for meat, I don't think the Bible is referring to people as meat. It means cattle consumes them, as in grains and grasses, and then we consume the animals. It's referring to the animals as meat. The seeds and the herbs are for the meat, for the animals. So that's my rant for the day. I hope this is an eye-opening commentary on the carnivore diet. Remember, plants are extremely addictive in any form, whether it's a carbohydrate, a sugar, a pasta, a bread. All these things convert to sugars. And when people try to end their relationship with them, it can be extremely difficult. Those of us in the carnivore community know it, unless you just go cold turkey and get off them and never go back. Some of us, like me, for instance, I have tried to go back, and I always get bit. I always live and feel better on 100% meat. Remember, we're not sick people. There's nothing wrong with us. We're not well based on any reasoning that we can't eat this stuff. We're basically being poisoned to death. And we've made the decision to put our carbohydrate toxicity and malnutrition into remission so that we can live a full life, the life God intended us to live. Amen, brothers. I'll see you soon. I love you all.